Welcome to listen and enjoy peaceful night's sleep. Asterisk tonight. Let your worries fade, your mind unwind, and your heart find calm. Asterisk, we invite you on a gentle journey through a summer evening in New York. Asterisk, a heart-touching story where the golden glow of city lights meets the quiet rhythm of a peaceful soul. Asterisk, as the sun dips behind tall buildings and the city hushes into twilight, you'll walk the peaceful sidewalks, hear the soft hum of summer breezes, and feel the warmth of memories wrapped in the scent of blooming flowers and distant laughter. Asterisk, this is not just a story, it's a moment of calm, a breath of peace, and a warm hug for your tired spirit. Asterisk, so lie back, close your eyes, and let the gentle magic of New York in the summer carry you into the most restful sleep. Asterisk, you deserve this peace. You are safe here. Let's begin. Let's begin countdown. Asterisk 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and now. Asterisk, it was the kind of summer evening that only New York City could offer. Warm, golden, and alive in a way that didn't overwhelm but soothed. Sun had begun its slow descent behind the tall skyline, leaving trails of lavender and peach across the horizon. The city's rhythm, often hurried and loud, had softened to something more like a heartbeat, steady, pulsing, but calm. Anna stood by her apartment window on the 6th floor of a quiet brownstone in the West Village. The gentle whir of a ceiling fan, the distant murmur of traffic, and the fluttering curtains framed the peaceful silence of her living space. She had just brewed herself a cup of chamomile tea, the fragrant steam curling into the air like a whisper. Outside, the city was transforming. Streetlights blinked on like stars, one by one, casting their warm glow onto the sidewalks below. Couples strolled slowly, dogs padded along on gentle leashes, and somewhere, faint music from a saxophone drifted through the night air. Anna wrapped a soft throw around her shoulders and sat on the cushioned window seat, legs tucked up, tea in hand. She wasn't thinking about deadlines or tomorrow's plans. Not tonight. Tonight was made for exhaling, for simply being. She watched as a man walked down the street with a bouquet of sunflowers in hand. He paused in front of a small cafe, where a woman waited with a smile that lit up even the fading light. Anna smiled too. There was something beautiful about witnessing small moments of kindness, things you could easily miss in the rush of life. The window let in the scents of the evening, fresh rain that had fallen earlier, mingled with summer roses from the rooftop gardens above. There was even a trace of fresh bread from the bakery on the corner, where the ovens never quite cooled. She leaned back against the soft cushions, letting her eyes relax. The city wasn't demanding anything from her tonight. It was simply keeping her company, like an old friend who knew when to talk and when to sit in silence. A book lay open beside her, unread for now. She preferred the stillness, the natural lull of the city breathing, as if it too needed rest. From her window, Anna could see into the windows of other buildings. Warm yellow lights glowed from cozy kitchens and quiet bedrooms. A cat curled up on a windowsill across the street. Someone watered a houseplant slowly with intention. Another person sat with headphones on, eyes closed, probably letting music carry them far away. The city was made of stories, millions of them. But tonight, Anna didn't feel lost in the crowd. She felt connected to the evening, to the quiet, and to herself. After finishing her tea, she walked slowly into the bedroom, where fairy lights twinkled above the bed like captured fireflies. She turned them on with a soft click and changed into her favorite cotton sleepwear, the kind that felt like a gentle hug. She pulled back the covers, slipped in, and lay on her back for a moment, listening. The fan hummed softly above her, and the city outside continued its lullaby, a distant siren, the soft footsteps of someone walking their dog, and the steady hum of life continuing in slow motion. Her room was filled with personal touches, a small painting of Central Park at sunset, a ceramic dish with rings and bracelets, a lavender sachet tucked under her pillow. Everything in its place, everything calm, everything still. She closed her eyes and thought about tomorrow, but not with worry, just curiosity. What flowers might bloom in the community garden? Would the corner cafe have blueberry scones? Would the sky be this lovely again? The weight of the day, the meetings, the traffic, the emails had lifted. Now there was only the moment, the gentle warmth of the sheets, the soft whisper of summer wind through the open window, the lull of the city dot, and as the clock ticked past 9, and the room filled with darkness and comfort, Anna let her breath deepen. Inhale and exhale. Slowly, naturally dot outside. The lights of New York glimmered like stars dot, and inside, Anna drifted into peaceful, dream-filled sleep. Asterisk. The next morning, the city awoke softly, wrapped in the hush of early sunlight and the promise of another warm summer day. Anna stirred gently, not to the blare of an alarm clock, but to the subtle brightness slipping past the sheer curtains. In her room, the golden light played on the walls like a gentle call to rise. No rush, no pressure, just an invitation to begin again. Asterisk. She stretched slowly beneath her cool cotton sheets, taking a long breath that filled her lungs with morning air and calm. There was nothing urgent waiting for her. It was one of those rare, beautiful days when the only plan was to follow the breeze. Asterisk. After a leisurely breakfast, fresh peaches, honeyed yogurt, and warm cinnamon toast, Anna tied up her hair and slipped on a flowy linen dress. She laced up her soft canvas shoes and headed out, greeted immediately by the scent of sun-warmed brick and sidewalk coffee shops opening their doors. Asterisk. The air was rich with the subtle sounds of a waking city, the gentle hum of traffic still, light, the rustle of newspapers, the clink of cups, and the soft greetings between neighbors. There was a rhythm to New York that pulsed beneath the noise, a subtle melody only felt when you allowed yourself to slow down. Anna took her time strolling through the village, letting her feet guide her more than any destination. The trees along the sidewalks offered patches of shade, their leaves rustling in a lazy conversation with the morning breeze. A few sparrows chirped from fire escapes and garden fences. She paused at a corner flower stand, her favorite, run by Anne. Older man named Elias, who always wore a wide smile and smelled faintly of roses. Today the stall bloomed with hydrangeas, sunflowers, and soft pink peonies. Good morning. Miss Anna, Elias greeted warmly. You've brought the sun with you? She laughed softly. I think it followed the flowers. He handed her. A single stem, a soft purple iris. For peace, he said with a wink. Every day could use a little more of it. She thanked him and tucked the flower gently into her tote bag, its petals swaying gently with her movement as she continued walking. The streets unfolded like a dream, every block a soft memory in the making. She passed old brownstones with ivy crawling up their faces, quiet cafes where jazz trickled out the door, and tiny bookstores with handwritten signs taped in the windows. It was a city constantly moving, yet today, it moved just slow enough to feel like a lullaby. Eventually, Anna found herself wandering into Washington Square Park. The fountain splashed in the center, not loud, just rhythmic and soothing. Children played in the water's mist, their laughter rising like bubbles in the air. Nearby, a street musician played soft piano melodies on a portable keyboard, his eyes closed, lost in the sound. Anna sat on a shaded bench beneath an old elm tree, feeling the warmth of the air wrap around her like a soft shawl. She closed her eyes and let the sound of the fountain, the piano, and the quiet rustle of the city fill her mind, not with thoughts, but with space. With calm it felt like being cradled by the city, not in the fast, flashing way people usually described New York, but in its quiet strength. Its ability to hold moments like this, precious and unhurried. After a while, she stood and wandered further, down winding streets she hadn't walked in a while. She passed the old record store with faded signs, the bakery that still made pretzels from scratch, and the quiet corner where the breeze always carried the scent of rain, even on dry days. Asterisk. As the sun began to dip again toward the horizon, she made her way home. Her arms carried a loaf of fresh bread, a bottle of sparkling water, and the feeling of having truly lived in the moment, not chased it. Asterisk back in her apartment. The golden light filtered through the windows again, casting long, warm shadows across the hardwood floor. She put the iris in a glass jar on the kitchen counter and lit a candle that smelled of vanilla and cedarwood. Asterisk. Dinner was simple. Slices of bread with honey butter, chilled fruit, and a few bites of soft cheese. She ate slowly, seated at the small table by the window, watching the light change from gold to blush to soft indigo. Asterisk. When the first star blinked into the sky above the rooftops, Anna stepped out onto the fire escape, wrapped in her soft cardigan, holding a cup of herbal tea. The city below buzzed in soft murmurs. Street lamps glowed. Windows flickered with television light, and voices, distant, laughing, calm, floated into the air like dreams. Asterisk. She breathed in deeply. The air was warm but carried the faintest hint of cool, a promise that night had arrived. Everything felt wrapped in velvet, like the city itself had exhaled. Asterisk. Anna whispered softly to the sky, "Thank you for today." Asterisk. And with that, she stepped back inside, turned on the soft glow of her bedside lamp, and curled under the sheets once more. She reached for her book, but only read a few lines before the weight of calm took over. Asterisk. The city held her, quiet and safe. Asterisk. The sounds of a summer evening in New York, distant music, a passing taxi, footsteps on the pavement blended into the soft rhythm of her breath. Asterisk. Inhale and exhale. The night stretched on, full of dreams waiting quietly in the wings, and Anna slept deeply and peacefully. By the next evening, the city's rhythm had shifted again, slightly slower, like a heart settling into a calm beat. As twilight approached, Anna found herself once again drawn outside, but this time not to the sidewalks or the parks. Tonight, the rooftops whispered her name. She climbed the narrow staircase that led to the top of her building, a place where few ventured, but where the world unfolded differently. The rooftop was wide and open, with strings of soft lights still hanging from a party long past. A few folding chairs sat beside terracotta pots filled with lavender and basil. The city stretched before her in every direction, a living painting, glowing gold and silver under the indigo sky. The buildings looked softer at this hour, their sharp edges blurred by dusk and the hush of evening dot. Anna settled into one of the chairs and let her body relax fully into the space. She placed a soft blanket over her lap and held a mug of warm lemon balm tea. The steam curled lazily in the air, vanishing into the soft wind like a dream disappearing upon waking. A plane blinked gently in the sky, drawing a slow arc above the city. Somewhere far below, the mellow strum of a guitar floated up from a distant balcony. It was as if New York itself had decided to hum a lullaby, one only heard by those who slowed down enough to listen. She closed her eyes for a moment and listened. There was the soft creak of a sign swinging on its hinge 2 buildings over. The distant hush of subway wheels turning underground. A siren far away, not alarming, just present. And a couple walking hand in hand down the sidewalk, laughing gently like they'd known each other forever. It was the kind of atmosphere that softened thoughts, that turned worries into dust and let them float away with the wind. As darkness settled in, the lights below twinkled on, one by one, like stars born of the earth. Street lamps lit up the sidewalks with warm amber. Shop signs blinked in soft neon, and windows became little glowing storybooks of quiet lives being lived. Someone cooking, someone reading, someone simply standing and watching the night unfold. Anna pulled her knees close and leaned her chin against them. She thought about how often people describe New York as overwhelming, loud, fast, chaotic. But here now, it felt like the opposite. It felt like being held gently in the palm of something vast and kind. She remembered a quote she once read. In a dusty little bookstore uptown, the city only speaks softly to those who arrive with quiet hearts. That night, her heart was quiet. The scent of rooftop herbs and warm brick lingered in the air. Somewhere across the city, wind chimes danced gently. She could almost imagine the city itself sighing in relief, as if it too needed this moment. To rest, she let her mind drift. She thought of the old woman who sold her mint tea on Bleecker Street, always smiling like she had a secret. She thought of the stray orange cat who lived in the alleyway by the bookstore, always watching but never approaching. She thought of her grandmother's voice, soothing and soft, telling stories on summer nights just like this dot as the moon rose higher. Anna stood slowly and walked to the edge of the rooftop, leaning lightly against the railing. The breeze brushed her cheeks like a familiar friend. She whispered into the wind, "I see you, New York. I hear you. Thank you for tonight." And it felt truly deeply like the city answered her. Back inside, Anna took her time preparing for sleep. The windows were left slightly open to let the night in, the quiet whoosh of distant cars, the steady hum of a world at peace. She lit a lavender candle and turned on her soft bedside lamp, its glow the color of early morning light. She slipped between the sheets, cool and light, and let her body sink fully into the mattress. Every breath became slower, deeper, more trusting. The room darkened as the candle burned down. A moth tapped once at the glass and then fluttered away. And with one last breath, warm, slow, whole, Anna let go of the day. The rooftop, the tea, the lights, the breeze, they all melted into dreams. She didn't need to chase rest. It had already found her. The morning after her rooftop retreat, Anna woke to the distant sound of thunder rumbling like a soft drum in the sky. Outside, the light was silver and hushed. The city felt gentler, wrapped in a mist that turned sharp edges into watercolor. Dreams. Asterisk, she pulled back the curtain, and a soft drizzle painted streaks down the window. It was the kind of summer rain that didn't hurry, not a storm, not a rush, but a lullaby of droplets falling like piano notes. There was no need to rush anywhere today. Anna wrapped herself in a long cardigan and brewed chamomile tea, letting its gentle aroma float through the room. She moved slowly, pouring honey with care, stirring in spirals. Everything was soft, deliberate. There was a different kind of rhythm on rainy days in New York. Slower footsteps, quieter voices, shared umbrellas, gentle smiles passed between strangers. Asterisk, she opened the windows just enough to let in the cool breeze. The sound of rain tapping leaves and rooftops filled her apartment like a calm, rhythmic song. Asterisk, down below, the city looked like a painting. Reflections shimmered in puddles, neon lights danced in soft ripples, and even the yellow cabs moved slower, as if they too were savoring the hush. Asterisk, Anna pulled her favorite book from the shelf, a collection of poems she had read many times before. She nestled into the couch by the window, tucked a blanket around her legs, and let the gentle lines of poetry drift across her mind like clouds across the sky. Asterisk, somewhere in the background, wind chimes swayed gently. Asterisk, she closed her eyes for a moment and just listened to the hush of the rain. The distant echo of jazz from someone's open window, the clink of dishes from a cafe below. It was a quiet day in a city that never slept, and that contrast made it feel even more magical. Asterisk, as the afternoon unfolded, Anna decided to take a walk. Asterisk, she put on her softest sweater, pulled up the hood of her raincoat, and stepped into the gentle mist. The sidewalk shimmered. Trees leaned toward each other like old friends sharing secrets. A little dog in a yellow raincoat trotted past with its human tail wagging. The rhythm of the city was a soft patter of steps in rain. Asterisk. She wandered without a plan, through quiet streets lined with brownstones, past bakeries with fogged windows and warm, glowing lights inside. Asterisk, through Washington Square Park, where only a few people strolled, heads bowed under umbrellas. children still splashing gleefully in puddles. Asterisk. The rain was a blessing, a permission slip to slow down, to listen, to feel that asterisk. Anna sat beneath a large elm tree near the fountain and closed her eyes. The world around her faded into the steady hush of rain on leaves, the whisper of the city breathing. Asterisk, she imagined the droplets carrying away the worries of the day, rinsing the pavement of tension, the air of noise, her own mind of the things she didn't need to carry. Asterisk, when she opened her eyes, a gentle smile played on her lips. Asterisk, she returned home with damp shoes, pink cheeks, and a heart wrapped in stillness. Her apartment welcomed her like a familiar hug. She changed into dry clothes, warmed her hands on a cup of cinnamon tea, and lit a candle, its flame dancing gently in rhythm with the rain outside. Asterisk. Night came quietly. Asterisk. The city glowed softly under the streetlights. Puddles mirroring stars, raindrops still falling like delicate threads, stitching the city to the sky. Asterisk. Anna stood by the window and whispered, "Thank you," though she wasn't sure who she was thanking. The sky, the city, the rain, perhaps herself. Asterisk. That night, she tucked herself into bed a little earlier than usual. Asterisk. She turned off all the lights except the one by her bedside, casting golden warmth across the sheets. She placed a fresh sprig of rosemary beneath her pillow, an old habit she had learned from her grandmother, said to bring peaceful dreams. Asterisk. As she lay down, the last thing she heard was the soft lullaby of the rain, the city exhaling, and the soft, slow rhythm of her own heartbeat. Steady, safe, serene. Asterisk. Sleep came like a wave, gentle and sure, and carried her into the deepest, most restful dreams she'd had in a long time. The rain had passed. Asterisk by morning, the city stretched beneath clear skies, washed fresh and new. The streets sparkled as though every raindrop had turned to sunlight. Birds chirped from branches heavy with water droplets and the scent of earth. And blooming flowers filled the air. Asterisk Anna awoke slowly, her body wrapped in soft blankets, her breath gentle. Her dreams had been deep, full of forests and laughter, of long walks and warm hands. She opened her eyes to the soft light spilling across her room and felt a sense of stillness she hadn't known in a long time. Asterisk, the city was different after. Rain, more alive, more forgiving. Asterisk, she made her way to the kitchen, savoring each step, as if every moment was its own small blessing. Outside, New York was beginning to stir again, but there was no rush. Just the golden warmth of a new day stretching its arms. Asterisk after breakfast, Anna decided to return to one of her favorite places, the Brooklyn Promenade. Asterisk, she took the subway, a peaceful ride filled with the clack of wheels and soft chatter. As she emerged from the underground, the city opened in front of her like a story waiting to be read. Asterisk from the promenade, she saw the skyline, tall, shining, proud. The buildings stood like giants in the sun, their windows reflecting the clouds. The East River shimmered below, gentle waves curling like whispers. Asterisk, she walked slowly, letting her fingertips brush the old iron railing, pausing to watch a boat glide silently beneath the Brooklyn Bridge. She noticed lovers walking hand in hand, a father carrying a sleepy child, an artist sketching in silence. Asterisk, it was all so beautifully alive, a quiet orchestra of movement and stillness, of noise and calm, woven into a perfect rhythm. Asterisk, Anna sat on a bench shaded by a tree, closed her eyes, and let the city's hum settle into her chest like a familiar song. Asterisk, in that moment, she didn't need to be anywhere else. She didn't need to accomplish anything, fix anything, or plan for tomorrow. She simply existed, and that was enough. Asterisk, as the day wore on, she visited her favorite bookstore near the promenade. The bell above the door jingled softly, and the scent of old pages welcomed her like an old friend. She wandered between shelves, letting her fingers graze covers and titles, feeling drawn to stories yet unread. Asterisk, she found a book of city photography, images of New York in every season. Snowy rooftops, golden autumn parks, neon reflections, and rain-soaked streets. She bought it and tucked it into her bag like a treasure. Asterisk later, she walked home slowly, choosing quiet streets where flowers bloomed along wrought iron fences and music drifted from open windows. Children laughed on stoops, and the city buzzed with gentle joy. Asterisk that evening, she made herself dinner, warm soup with fresh herbs, crusty bread, and soft butter. She lit a candle on the windowsill and watched the sky begin to shift, changing from blue to orange to soft lavender. And as twilight fell, the city transformed once more. Lights flickered on. One by one, in apartments and cafes, along bridges and streets, like stars in reverse. Descending to the earth. Asterisk from her rooftop, Anna watched them glow. Asterisk, she wrapped herself in a blanket and sipped tea as the air cooled. Below her, the city pulsed with life, soft and endless. A jazz band played faintly from a nearby bar. Laughter echoed from rooftops, and in the distance, the Statue of Liberty stood tall against the horizon. Asterisk, there was a moment, suspended in time, where everything aligned, the wind brushing her cheek, the music in the distance, the warmth of her cup, the lights blinking like lullabies. Asterisk, she breathed it all in, slowly, deeply. Asterisk, and in that moment, Anna knew, peace didn't come from escaping the city. It came from finding stillness inside, the rhythm from letting yourself slow down in a world that always moves fast. Asterisk that night, she climbed into bed with the window cracked open. A breeze slipped through, carrying the sounds of New York's soft voices, distant horns, footsteps echoing in the alleyway below, but she didn't hear them as noise. She heard them as comfort, the voice of the city, a lullaby she'd come to love. Asterisk, she turned off the lamp and curled beneath the sheets, her heart full. Asterisk, as she drifted into sleep, her final thought was simple and true. There is beauty in motion, there is peace in presence, asterisk, and there is magic, always in a summer evening. In New York,